point of the season is here for the competitors and the teams in the IMSA VP Racing SportsCar Challenge. Mid-Ohio race number 2 of the weekend here for these teams and drivers about to get underway. Race 1 was certainly exciting. Brian Till, Jeremy Shaw with you. And as I said, a halfway point in the season. Championship leaders are still there, but everybody else, those competitors, those that are pursuing, in top gear, and the hunt is on. Still half of the season yet to go. Very cool day here in northern or central Ohio, however you want to look at it. About halfway between Columbus and Cleveland up I-71 sits the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in Lexington, Ohio. Renowned for its technical nature, this racetrack has it all. Turn 1, then down to the keyhole. Good passing opportunity there. Down the long back straight through turn 4, you head into an area called Madness, then Thunder Valley, then the Carousel, and you complete a lap here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Like I said, one of the most technical racetracks on the circuit, and a brand new repaving job over the winter has left a very smooth surface. Welcome in, everyone. What a great race I expect to see in this second one. But before we get to race number 2, let's take a look at race number 1, how it all started. Jagger Jones on the pole, big jump over Stephen Agakani, and Jeremy, he would never look back.
He did not indeed. Agakani tried to sort of squeeze him at the start, but that didn't work out. A drive-through penalty, though, for the pole sitter in GSX. That was Jesse Lazar.
Yeah, crossing columns before the start, and look at this. Stephen Agakani dropped back. Villa Gomez had gotten by for the second position, but a great battle here, a power move into the keyhole. Stephen Agakani takes back that second place, and then a little argy-bargy. You see that in the keyhole quite a bit.
You do, don't you? It's a recipe for disaster there, I think, when kind of things go wrong there, but it didn't go wrong for Jagger Jones. An absolutely perfect performance by the young man from Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yeah, driving with the memory of his grandfather, Parnelli Jones, I'm sure very close to his heart. Parnelli passed away earlier in the week, and Jagger Jones making sure that he brought his grandfather's memory and took him to victory lane. 2 classes of cars, 45-minute sprint, no driver changes, no pit stops. Take a look at the starting grid, Jeremy.
Yeah, that's right. We've got a total of 22 cars. We've got 9 LMP3 cars and 13 GSX, which is GT4 in old money, if you like. Same cars that will be racing in the Michelin Pilot Challenge a little bit later on today. On the pole position in GSX, once again, it's Jesse Lazar for the 4th time this season in that Motorsports in Action McLaren Artura GT4 alongside him. Josh Green had a really good run yesterday, making his debut for Thay's competition in a second of its Mercedes-AMG GT4s. Second row of the grid, Luca Mars, who ended up winning a race yesterday with that penalty for the McLaren in the number 59 Core Motorsports Ford Mustang GT4. Then Patrick Wilmot in the split decision Motorsports Genie Engineering Genie Garage Doors BMW M4 GT4 in LMP3. The same front row as it was yesterday, Jagger Jones and Stephen Agakani. The LMP3 cars, we've got 9 of them, 8 of them at Ligier's, but the lone Duqueine D08, that's the car that Jagger Jones put on the pole position, maintaining his record, a perfect record of qualifying on the pole position in now his 6th VP Racing Sports Car Challenge event, 6 pole positions. He hasn't converted all of them into wins, but he's perfect this season with 3 wins out of 3 starts so far.
I think this is going to be a very different racetrack today, Jeremy, as you look at the weather. 60 degrees, a lot cooler this morning than it was yesterday afternoon when these competitors took to the track. An absolutely gorgeous day, comfortable for everybody, but I think it's going to take a while for these Michelin tires to come in. And one of the unique things about the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, you'll see the pace car drop off into pit lane, and the competitors will gather up, pack up, pair up, and then they will lead themselves around to the back straight where the flag will fly about halfway down the back straightaway for the start here. It's just one of the unique things about the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. The carousel so close to the start-finish line, or the control line, if you will, that mini-series here elect to start on the back straightaway. It's become very commonplace.
It has indeed, but as you say, they just crossed what will be the finish line, and the clock is running. So it's a 45-minute race. The clock is starting already. So once they take the green flag halfway down the back straight, when they complete that next lap, that'll be effectively the first lap in the books.
Field getting packed up and paired up. You can see last couple of cars there. Will Walks, Eddie Colleen kind of worked their way back up to the pack. The question is, what did Stephen Agakani learn yesterday on the start? Jagger Jones got a tremendous start yesterday, led every lap, was never headed. And now it's the same game that we saw being played yesterday. These two youngsters on the front row really squeezing each other nice and close together. Jagger Jones pulls the trigger. Another great start by Jagger Jones as he heads down to turn 4. And I think Agakani in danger of slipping back into third.
Yeah, as looking down the inside is Seth Lucas, local youngster there, makes the move down the inside, and he got it completed just about now. Get across there, Seth, to get the inside line at the top of the crest of the hill there. Good start by Seth Lucas. Stephen Agakani, he seems to be more concerned about playing games at the start than actually making a good one. I mean, it's tricky coming down that hill towards the start there because you're kind of offline on the outside. So that's why Jagger Jones was trying to keep him out there. It's offline, it's dirtier track, you don't get as much grip. But it's a great start once again by Jagger Jones. Clean start also, it seemed, in GSX.
Power move by Seth Lucas at the end of the back straightaway, as you said. Really strong move, and for Stephen Agakani, he's going to have to play catch-up just like he did yesterday. So the 61 moves to second and saw good battles with the 7 and the 51 just behind as Alex Kirby in the number 7 and the 51, Orion Finney kind of going at it at the end of the back straightaway. And as I said, these cars right now not optimal. It's going to take probably 3 or 4 laps, Jeremy, before you've got really the tire temperature and the pressure that you need to get that optimal performance out of these Michelin tires.
Yeah, fair comment. I mean, new track surface here, it's super smooth, but it's not very grippy. A lot of drivers are surprised that there isn't more grip from this new surface, but I think they've done a great job by the looks of it here with this repaving. And you know, some of the tracks, the characters change completely when they're repaved. Not the case here though at Mid-Ohio. It's still relatively low grip. But it's smooth and it's fast. It's good for racing. It's going to take a little bit of while for more rubber to be laid down offline. It's kind of a one groove track at the moment. If you get offline where the rubber isn't laid down by the cars as the races progress, then it's pretty slippery. But the track will just improve, I think, over the course of the next year or two.
Watching Jesse Lazar aboard the 21, McLaren Arturo, Luca Mars in the Mustang right behind. What's interesting is we typically see these two fight for the lead, but it's young Josh Green at the start in his Thais Mercedes, who's leapt out to the point in GSX, leaving the battle for second between the McLaren and the Mustang, and this has championship implications as well. That mistake for Jesse Lazar yesterday at the start, the ensuing drive-through penalty set him back in the order. He came back for a great podium finish, but he needs to finish in front of Luca Mars if he wants to close this championship down. Running in front of him right now is great, but he'd love to have the 350 points instead of 320 for a second place finish. That 350 for winning would be great. We still have a long way to go, but really impressed with Josh Green right now.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a young man with a big future ahead of him, I think, is Josh Green. And talking of Luca Mars and Jesse Lazar, there's top two in the championship, as you say. Luca Mars, he dominated both races at Daytona on the high banks to begin the season. Then when we went to the streets of St. Petersburg, it was Jesse Lazar and the McLaren that were dominant car. So it was so 2 wins for each of them coming into this weekend. Jesse Lazar had the pole yesterday and today, but as you say, it was Luca Mars that converted into the victory yesterday, with Jesse having to settle for third position. So there's 170 points in between them as they come into this halfway point in the season.
Seth Lucas trying to put some distance between himself and Stephen Agakani. Lucas in the black 61 across the start-finish line. Agakani, the championship leader in the P3 category, just behind. Agakani on the flashers, and I don't think Seth Lucas is paying any attention at all in his mirrors. His sights focused squarely on that Duquesne chassis of Jagger Jones, who runs in P1 in the P3 category, and Jones was absolutely magic yesterday, Jeremy.
Yep, absolutely right. He'd be saying you can flash those as much as you like. But Stephen Agakani, he's got all the tricks, hasn't he? But right now he's got some work to do. But he's shown that in the past this season. I mean, look, he's new to this sort of a car. He's driven primarily in sedan-type cars over the last, the first few years of his career, Lamborghinis especially, but also Mercedes and a few other GT-type cars as well. But this is his first year in the prototypes. And it showed. His inexperience has shown. He's made a few mistakes in traffic. He hasn't been as incisive perhaps he might be. But look, that's all part of the learning curve, isn't it? And what he has shown himself to be extremely good at is number one, turning quick lap times, and number two, making passes when it matters in the late stages of the race. So Seth Lucas, really, really good start for the 18-year-old from Powell, Ohio, less than an hour from the racetrack here, and putting on a good show for his local supporters and family.
Yeah, Seth trying to come to grips with this prototype. He's spent some time in the LMP2 cars, more powerful brother, if you'd like, to the LMP3 machines, but you've got to learn this racetrack, this tire, this car. He did a great job yesterday, moved up from qualifying, finished in the top 5, and then started third today. So a little off the apex in the carousel the last time by, and it looks to me like Agakani has a better drive off the keyhole, but Seth a little bit better in the tighter sections of the racetrack from like 4 over to the carousel. Little mistake the last time by Lucas, but not enough that Stephen Agakani can take advantage of it. So for Seth, like you said, he just needs to focus forward, see what he can get done. But Agakani a lot more experience, and I'll tell you what, Seth Lucas very aware right now, Jeremy, as I watch him through madness. He knew Agakani was probing there and knew not to close the door. Even if contact had happened and somebody had blamed it on Agakani, it would have been Seth that went for the ride. So a very aware drive, a very heady drive for Seth Lucas right now.
Yeah, he's got a lot of good people behind him to guide him forward and help him with this learning process. As you say, he's driven a lot of different cars, even the fact he's just 18 years of age, but driven a lot of different cars over the last couple of years, and he's been kind of all over the place. And I'm all in favor of trying to get young drivers trying to get as much experience as they can in different cars. But at some point, you really need to focus on something. Maybe go for a championship. And I think this is his first weekend as Agakani again looks to the inside. But Seth Lucas isn't tempted to kind of slam the door and compromise his line into the keyhole. Maintains his position there. Really good driving here from Seth. But I would really like him to focus on something like this series and build. Maybe not a championship challenge, because of course he's already missed the first 4 races of the season, but get some good consistent racing under his belt, and then worry about moving on up the ladder into P2 cars and the like.
Yeah, I agree, Jeremy. You see a lot of young drivers now racing very different series, and it's great to get the experience, but you've got to focus on one so that you can make your mark. And right now, Seth Lucas making his mark here in VP Racing SportsCar Challenge. Good second place run going right now. Josh Green over Jesse Lazar, Luca Mars. That's the top 3 in GSX. And Jesse Lazar was so quick yesterday, making up for that mistake, that drive-through penalty, and now doing the same thing here today. I think that McLaren comes good on long runs, and he is closed back in on that rear wing of the Mercedes AMG of Josh Green. Yeah, and good battle here. Josh Green is having made that good start to get the lead. He's not going to give it up without a fight, that's for sure. He's a feisty young man. Is Josh? He's from Mount Kisco, New York, just outside of New York. He's cut his teeth in open wheel cars. He was a winner of the Team USA scholarship. Went to the UK a few years ago. He moved his way up as high as Indy Next last year. Used to be known as Indy Lights, of course. And has shown talent all the way along the path. So, he's taken a new career path this season, stepping into the sports cars for the first time. Absolutely loves it, and he's found a comfortable place here with Thay's competition. A lot of experience in this team. They're guiding him along and giving him this opportunity, and he's intent upon making the most of that opportunity. Absolutely making the most of it right now. And talk about a difference in cars. Think about an Indy Next car, any of the Formula cars on the road to Indy ladder, and sitting in the middle of one of those, being able to see the wheels and tires out in front of you and everything, and then climbing behind the wheel of this Mercedes AMG. It's got to feel huge. Yeah, a lot heavier. The car moves around a lot more. Not quite as much. The power to weight ratio isn't quite as impressive as an Indy Next car, certainly, but it's still a really good tool from which to learn, and that's exactly what Josh Green is doing. Looking back to this battle again, then in second position in LMP3, Seth Lucas still holding on ahead of Stephen Agakani. Not far behind him is Miguel Villagomez in the Escuderia Abro Ligier, car number 23, and not far behind him also are both Alex Kirby and Ryan Finney in number 7 and number 51 cars. So Seth Lucas here, he's got this position
by a couple of car lengths, but maybe 10, 12 car lengths back. There's 3 more LMP3 cars scrapping over 4th position.
P3 class working their way through GSX cars now, and traffic's going to come into play. One of the things that's so great about the VP Racing Sports Car Challenge Series, multi-class racing, and so you want to take your career to the next level in the WeatherTech Championship. This is where you can kind of learn that difference between the classes and how to work traffic, use it to your advantage, try to place a pick between you and your nearest competitor, which is exactly what Seth Lucas is trying to do right now, using Eddie Killeen in the carousel, and it balks Stephen Agakani. Great job by Seth Lucas, and a lot of that is luck and where you catch the traffic, but then what do you do with it? Seth Lucas used it perfectly in the carousel that time.
Yeah, I mean, it's risky to go around the outside there. There's not a lot of grip. It's the entrance to the pit road primarily, but he pulled that off absolutely superbly. That was very impressive by the young man, Seth Lucas, and he extended his lead, at least for a little while, over Stephen Agakani.
And this battle, you were talking about it, Villagomez, Kirby, and Finney really heating up. You saw Finney and Kirby side by side through the keyhole that time. I think traffic kind of brought that battle even closer. Ryan Finney able to pick up the position. Kirby back to 6th, Finney into the top 5.
Great stuff. Really, really good racing here. This is what LMP3 cars are all about. Tremendous excitement here amongst this group of cars, and they're going to work as hard as they can to catch up with Agakani and Lucas as well. Villagomez, he's been a bit of a revelation this year. We didn't really know much about him at all. He's originally from Ecuador, Quito, Ecuador, and he's done a lot of racing primarily in Central America, but not a lot over here. But this year he's been really fast in these cars. He's 38 years of age. He's a bronze-rated driver. He's leading the bronze category in terms of the championship. He took over the championship lead yesterday from Brian Thenis, who's led it up until now. Brian Thenis running a little bit farther back down the field in 8th position. He's got his own little battle going on with the Canadian youngster Jonathan Woolridge.
That battle for 4th continues into the keyhole, the bright orange. The 23 of Miguel Villagomez. Ryan Finney now beginning to put pressure on Villagomez. The traffic kind of got him there, and now he's going to go to work and see if he can sneak by both of these, the Ligier JSP 320 chassis. Finney with a late move down into 4th, sends it, and it works. Ryan Finney now into 4th. Villagomez slides back a little bit. And I was talking to Ryan yesterday, and a lot of Formula car experience, including testing in the IndyCar series, a lot of time behind the wheel of an Indy Lights car, or Indy Next as we call it now, as you were saying earlier. He said this car feels a lot like the Indy Next car, obviously a little bit heavier, but basically the attitude of it and the driving style is pretty similar. And Ryan Finney doing a great job right now. Jesse Lazar, meanwhile, in his McLaren, trying to take over the point from Josh Green in GSX, but that's a tall order, and now a battle down the front straightaway traffic. Seth Lucas used it to his advantage earlier, and this time was caught out by it, and Lucas, I believe, is going to lose a position. He does, and Agakani up to 2nd.
Yeah, good work there by Agakani there to read that perfectly heading into turn 1. So good move by Agakani up into 2nd position now. And look at Ryan Finney, he is really charging. You talked about his experience, he got a lot of it over the years, but never really done anything on a regular basis for a variety of reasons. And it's good to see him now focusing on this championship at the moment. He's got that car up into 4th position, and his last lap around was considerably quicker than the 2nd and 3rd place cars. Meanwhile, that battle back in GSX goes on and on, doesn't it? Josh Green just driving his line here. Looks to be inch perfect so far. Not driving defensively, just focusing forward, turning the best laps he can. I'm hoping that's enough to keep himself ahead of Jesse Lazar's McLaren.
Now check out this traffic. Seth Lucas is in the pass. He gets hung up behind the BMW, has to lift just a little bit right there. And Stephen Agakani had already committed back to the throttle, Jeremy. He got the run. Lucas got balked, and that's why that position changed there. And like you said, I think Stephen Agakani has more experience, obviously, running in this kind of traffic, and just saw it coming a little bit earlier, planned for it, was able to pick up the throttle while Seth Lucas got balked behind the GSX BMW.
Yeah, so now we'll
Good
see whether
stuff.
yeah, very good stuff. And we'll see now whether Argakani can reduce the deficit to Jagger Jones, who's way out front. He'd extend his lead to over 10 seconds with 11 laps in the books. So he's charging forward. He's just about to overtake, I think, the top two in the GSX category, put them a lap down. But it's been a really good performance here, certainly by everybody, quite frankly, at this stage. It's a nice, clean race. There's lots of dices going up and down the field, and plenty of places to look and see some action.
Brian Till and Jeremy Shaw with you. VP Racing Sports Car Challenge, round 6 of the 2024 season. 12 rounds in all. We'll finish up and crown a champion at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta on Petit Le Mans weekend. So still a long way to go in the championship and a long way to go in this race. 45 minutes is the total. We still have 28 to go here, and already working through traffic are the faster P3 machines. And Jagger Jones was on rails yesterday, and it is cut and paste, Jeremy, from what we saw in race number 1 yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, going absolutely perfectly for the young man from Scottsdale, Arizona. He's doing exactly what he wanted to do, exactly what he's been hard to do effectively by this Remstar with Fast MD team. They've always had fast cars. He drove for this team at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta last year, had a couple of pole positions. The race has slipped away from him for a variety of reasons. Really nothing to do with Jagger either. He was really unfortunate down there, but this season he didn't take part in the first 2 races at Daytona, but since then he's been absolutely perfect, and another tremendous performance here by the youngster. He's got the fastest lap of the race. That was a 1:18.2. That was set back on lap 5, and last lap around was a 1:18.8. He's cleared the traffic now, at least for a short while, so he's going to see whether he can extend that lead even more. Last time around, Argakani was a little bit quicker, actually quite a bit quicker actually. Just fractionally quicker, and it was Argakani's best lap of the race, having cleared the traffic, which is in his terms was Seth Lucas, who had been running ahead of him in the early stages. Argakani turning his best lap, so last time around was at 1:18.7. He's going to come across the line now, and he got some traffic of his own that time, so he's getting past those GSX leaders there, and that cost him a little bit of time.
Stephen Agakani runs second in the silver and turquoise colored number 6 Ligier through the keyhole. Seth Lucas just down the road. Powell, Ohio, just north of Columbus, call it a suburb. And Lucas knows this racetrack well, but he's coming to grips with this Ligier chassis in its P3 format. And it was interesting yesterday, Jeremy, I thought Stephen Agakani's car got better as the race went on. We're kind of seeing that today as he used that traffic to get by Seth Lucas. He seems to have been able to pull out a little bit over the 61 of Lucas, and I wonder if that car is just getting better and better. And the other thing too is the track is warming up, so I would think the track is getting better right now. Every lap around here is going to be better and better as the surface heats up. It's going to provide better grip.
Yeah, true. Plus the fuel load is lightening on these cars. Whoops, there's a spin. That's the second of the phase competition cars. That's Eddie Colleen. Yeah, he's running back in the 11th position in the class. He's just lost it coming out of turn 1. Didn't hit anything. And hopefully he should be able to get that car refired again and get back underway without needing to go full course caution. Oops.
There's how it happens. That was kind of late in the corner, and it just snaps around. What's one of the things that the driver said, and it's got to be uncomfortable for Eddie right now where he's sitting. He's looking at traffic coming out of the corner. That is the fastest corner on this racetrack, and it is big time fast. And in fact, for the drivers, they need to be careful. The rules are there's a yellow flag, and if you hold that shot and you look up to the left, you would see a green flag waving. You've got to be careful. You can't make a pass. See the green flag up on driver's left? You can't pass another car until you get to that green flag. And I may have seen a pass just after Eddie Colleen's car. I don't want to tell on anybody, but the rules are it's from the yellow until the next waving green, and you can see the next waving green is pretty far up the road.
Yeah, it is. I think it was a prototype you talked about. He just about got away with it. He might have lifted off a little bit to make sure he didn't pass it before he entered that green zone. But good. Colleen's got that car fired up again. It took a little bit longer than I would have anticipated, but he has done, and away he goes at the back of the field.
And there's kind of what I'm talking about, Jeremy.
Yeah, look, I think.
And it's tough, right? I mean, especially when you're in a prototype and you've got a GSX car in front of you, and that GSX car has checked up because of the car that you see sitting there. You're going faster. Even if you've slowed down in your prototype, you still have 10 or 15 miles an hour on the GSX car that's in front of you. It's difficult. I get it, and I don't want to get anybody in trouble. So let's move on.
Yep. Moving on. There is Jesse Lazare still chasing Josh Green, who leads the race in GSX in his stage competition Mercedes, car number 78. Is just really driving nice, consistent lap times. Is Lazare. It's the fastest lap of the race has gone to Jesse Lazare in GSX, but only by less than 1/10 of a second over the Mercedes. So these two are very, very closely matched, it would appear, and it's just a straight-out fight between the two of them. And to his credit here, Josh Green seems to be focused forward. He's not too worried about what's going on behind him. He's just doing the best he can do, turn his best laps. And judging by the lap times, if he can do that, it's going to be enough to keep that McLaren behind him, because they are pretty closely matched.
Well, and it seems that the prototype traffic has kind of gotten that battle to ebb and flow a little bit as well. McLaren maybe a little bit better through the tighter sections of Madness and down through Thunder Valley, but just interesting to watch that. Let me ask you a question. Obviously, Josh Green is a talent, right? I mean, certainly a Team USA scholarship winner, I believe, and he's a very talented young man, but are you surprised by his performance here this weekend? I mean, you knew he was going to run well, but this is the drive of a veteran, because he's got a veteran behind him putting pressure on him, and he hadn't put a wheel wrong.
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised at all, quite frankly. He's won at every level along his open wheel path, and I see no reason why he can't do the same here. I mean, McLaren, we know, is fast around here because the McLaren is also not only qualified on the pole for this race, he also qualified on pole for the Michelin Pilot Challenge race, that will take place later this afternoon. It was his teammate in that race, Carlos de Quesada, who put the car on pole position for this particular race. But you know, it's no surprise. It's no short answer, no. It's no surprise to me to see Josh Green running out front here, and he's just. What is impressive to see, though, is the fact he's not being defensive. He's just turned the best laps he can. Last time around, Jesse Lazare turned his fastest lap, or the fastest lap of the race, but crucially, so did Josh Green turn his best lap. It was fractionally slower than the McLaren, but not by much. I fancy if the McLaren could get past, it might well pull away, but it's up to Josh Green now just to keep his lines perfect. Take care when there's faster prototype traffic coming through, such that he doesn't lose time relative to that McLaren that's chasing him.
Tell you what I'm impressed with, he really Josh seems to get off the carousel really well. Jesse Lazare was right there on him as they came out of turn 11 and into the carousel, and Josh just hit his marks perfectly, pulled out another couple of car lengths on the drive off of the carousel. So those are the corners that are really difficult, and the slow corners a lot of times are the ones that are the most difficult to get perfectly, and Josh Green has done that. Same with the keyhole. That's going to give you that run down that long straightaway, and that's going to give him a little breathing room when they get down to the braking zone in turn 4.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And going back a little bit here, this is the battle for 5th and 6th places, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Yeah, with Alex Kirby Villagomez in the middle there in that brightly coloured car, and then behind him is the car number 38, Jonathan Woolrich, who's getting with the pace here in the middle stages of this race. We've got 20 minutes to go in this 45-minute race. This is a really good battle now for 5th, 6th and 7th. So Villagomez has certainly slipped back a little bit during this race, but for him, all he really needs to concentrate on, okay, if he doesn't have another overall podium finish here, which he'd certainly like, then the next key, the next goal is to win the Bronze Cup category and extend his lead over Brian Thenis in those points.
Problem for Vin Barletta aboard the 97 Turner Motorsport. back, the wing didn't seem quite square to me, Jeremy. Like
No,
grass
you might
on
have
the
tweaked
racetrack.
it. Yeah.
It may have just been an optical illusion, kind of with the paint scheme that's on the back of it. Maybe that's what it was, but it looked like the trunk was pushing. No, I guess it was just the paint.
Yeah,
Maybe a little damage.
Not too bad. He should be okay with that. Watching those three
You know,
cars
it's
heading up
interesting.
the hill.
Here's the issue.
There he is. That would be an
Off
exciting
there.
ride.
Yeah, but then he must end up backwards off of the keyhole. I don't know if he has, all the dirt on his tires or what the problem was there, but 2 offs, turn 1 and then essentially turn 2. But, we were talking about Villagomez yesterday. He said he thought he had a car that was great on long runs, and up until the middle of the race, 2/3 of the way in the race, he did, and then the car really fell off. I feel like maybe they made some adjustments to that and then kind of missed on the track condition this morning, because he's not been as quick as I thought he would be. I don't think he's as quick as he can be, so perhaps they just went the wrong direction, guessed the wrong way with the setup for this morning's conditions.
Yeah, it could be, couldn't it? Because as you said, it's a lot cooler this morning. It looks perfect here, and it is perfect. I mean, beautiful kind of spring day here. We're not yet officially summer, are we? So it's gorgeous. But yeah, it's not. I mean, I think really good conditions actually for fast laps right now. The engines breathe well. There's enough grip there when the sun's out, particularly. To build some heat into the tyres. This battle is just continuing, isn't it? Josh Green here, again, absolutely perfect here. You can see how fast McLaren is, and he's dogging every move. And for 3 or 4 laps in a row, Jesse Lazaire set fractionally a new faster time, a new best lap of the race. But that was pretty much matched by Josh Green as well, who was also improving his times. Last lap time for the GSX leader was 1:26.7. for Josh Green. His fastest lap was 1:26.5, so less than 0.2 of a second away from his fastest time. That's great consistency from young Josh Green.
Well, and for Jesse Lazaire, some of that time may come from running in the wake of that Mercedes that's in front of him, because he's going to get a little help with, a little bit of a draft down the long straightaway here, and even in places like the front straightaway. So with Josh Green doing a great job of, like you said, he's not even defending, Jeremy. His defense is running a perfect race, and so far that's exactly what he has done. And hats off to Jesse Lazaire too. I mean, this is a driver who knows how to win races, runs here in VP and also the Michelin Pilot Challenge. He wants to close down on the championship lead that Luca Mars has. He will do that if he finishes in second. He won't do that if he risks it all for another 30 points and he and Josh Green have a coming together and he ends up off the racetrack, or even worse, out of the race. So you got to be smart about getting the points when you can. I think Jesse Lazaire is doing exactly that. He's waiting until he's got an opening where he knows he could get the pass done, not he thinks he might be able to get the pass done. And there's a big difference in that. When you know it and you can take it, then you can go on with it. You don't risk too much, but he wants to close down on that championship lead. He's not going to do it sitting on the side of the road.
Absolutely right. And furthermore, there's another factor to take into account here. That is the fact that it's the same car he's using, isn't it, in the Michelin Pilot Challenge later on today?
No.
Oh,
no,
it
it's
is
not.
different
He
cars.
actually
Okay,
has 2 of them. Yeah.
Fine.
Well,
Okay,
you should
fine.
always
So,
have 2 McLarens, right?
yeah, no kidding. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. I wasn't sure. So that's one less factor to worry about then. But look, really heads-up driving there by Josh Green. He could see the closing speed of the prototype car there. He just left it room going in the inside into turn 1, and able to carry the same momentum through that corner without losing any ground at all, because there wasn't any ground to lose to the McLaren behind him.
Tell you what, the Mercedes comes off the corner. Josh Green does a great job of controlling the entry, which gives him that good run off of these slow corners. I said it just a lap ago with the carousel. He did the same thing coming out of the keyhole that time. The McLaren certainly is sleek down the straightaway, but if Josh Green doesn't get that run off the corner, he gets that 1, maybe 2 car length pull off the corner. If he doesn't get that, the McLaren's going to be side by side with him at the end of the straightaway. So good job by Josh of making sure that he is planted to get off those low-speed corners so that Jesse Lazare can't get that run.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, oops, there's another off there. That's the number 25 car, I think, of Mark Russell, who's running 6th in GSX. The Autotechnic BMW got away with that one, perhaps coming through that turn. But for Josh Green here, he knows that McLaren is really quick in a straight line. So that is his focus is here on number 1, turning nice consistent lap times. Number 2, getting off that keyhole and getting a good run onto the straightaway so that the McLaren doesn't get a run on him. This is a great learning curve though for Josh Green.
Yeah, let's see if he does it again. So the McLaren right there on him, and then right here, Josh Green able to get in the throttle, and boom, there's that car length, and he needs it because you're going to see the McLaren with its top speed, a little bit of a draft. You're going to see the McLaren close back in right on the rear wing of the Mercedes when he gets to the end of the straightaway. Every inch of road matters. Every 2, 3, 4 feet matters coming off the corner. If you can gain that, that's just that much work the driver behind you has to do. And Josh Green doing a great job right now. Also doing a good job is traffic. I think he's going to get through here. That's Will Walks, I believe. It gets through there, but checks him up a little bit. And now Green is defensive for the first time into turn 9. It may have cost him. Indeed it did. Jesse Lazare is going to clear him as they head to 11. Lazare to the lead.
Yeah, a really good heads-up driver there for Jesse Lazare. He saw that the opportunity might present itself, and he put himself in a perfect position to be able to take advantage of it. But is this traffic here going to cost him? Because that's going to cost him a little bit of momentum coming through the carousel. But the McLaren's fast enough, I think, to maintain that advantage heading into turn 1.
Yeah, the traffic, I thought Will Walks saw him and was going to let him through. And there's the pass, but I think Walks was letting the prototype through. Wasn't really sure that Josh Green and Jesse Lazare were there, and so Lazare clears him easily, but then they get to the carousel, and I thought we might see it switch again because the prototype goes around the outside, and I thought maybe Josh Green could follow the prototype, get the position back. Now, tables have been turned. What can Josh Green do? We felt like Jesse Lazare might have the faster car once the cork was out of the bottle. Well, let's find out, because Green right there on the wing of the McLaren as they get to turn 4, up and over, they'll head into madness and see how the handling of the Mercedes stacks up against the McLaren.
That Mercedes really good on the brakes, isn't it? And Josh Green will note that, and it's going to have to be some sort of a fairly desperate move, I think, to get past the McLaren. But look, he's a youngster and he's talented and he's ambitious and he wants to win this race. And having led it for 3 courses of the race, we've got 11 minutes to go now. He'll want, if he can, to redress that balance and get that Mercedes back out in front. It's been a super battle though between these two, and they've pulled out a long way now. 14 seconds over Luca Mars in 3rd place, similar gap back to Patrick Wilmot in the split decision BMW in 4th. And he's got a handy margin over Scott Blind, who leads the Bronze Cup category in 5th. But Mercedes again looking to the outside here. Is he going to try and make a move around the outside of the keyhole?
This is interesting. We'll see if he drops back behind and tries to over-under. The prototype that came through really kind of set this up. It delayed the turn-in for Lazare into turn 1 a little bit and gave Josh Green the run, and now he tries the over-under, and there's just not enough there to get it done.
Yeah, but
Jesse Lazare knows that he is there for sure.
Watch here, is he going to make a lunge? No, he's not quite close enough to take a run there. Jesse Lazare, I think he realized last time around that Mercedes was really fast through turn 4 there, so he made sure there's no opportunity for him to make a lunge at the inside of turn 5 at the top of the hill.
Be interesting with just inside 10 minutes to go. What does Josh Green have left, and does Jesse Lazare have a little bit more in the tank that he can put some distance between himself? He's done that through the turn 8-9 area of the racetrack and then through Thunder Valley into the carousel. This is where Josh Green has been so strong. We'll see if he can claw some of that real estate back. I think he stops the bleeding a little bit, but this is what he needs. The prototype coming as they head down to turn 1. He needs that prototype to dive inside. He just wasn't there in time. And now he'll clear Jesse Lazar easily by the time they get to the keyhole. But the second one, it's Villagomez may have a factor in this, may have a say, but yeah, for Josh Green, he's got another prototype in the mix as well. So sometimes you can use the faster cars to actually help you as a GSX car. Doesn't seem that it's going to work for Josh Green that time by.
No, it doesn't, does it? But it's still been a really fine performance by him. He's going to have his work cut out now, I think, because there's a whole bunch more, or a couple more LMP3 cars coming up behind us. Brian Thenis there in that red, white, and blue car. He's going to go around the outside of Josh Green at the crest of the hill, but he's going to be catching Jesse Lazar as they head into Thunder Valley. So.
And Lazar getting hung up by slower GSX traffic side by side. That's going to check him up. Now Thenis is there. That should give Green a little bit of a run. Maybe get some of that real estate back. Is he going to be close enough to make a move by the time they get to the carousel? Man, it's just this ebb and flow of the traffic. Look at Green all over the back of the McLaren. Now, which way do you go if you're Lazar? Which way do you go if you're Green? Back to the inside. Lazar gets checked up a little bit. Green with a run. Not enough to make it work. But you got to be looking so far up the road right now, Jeremy, thinking with time closing down, what's my next opportunity? Where's that next bit of traffic? For those guys, I think there's a Turner Motorsport BMW up in front of them that could work for them. That traffic, they may catch him in the back tighter sections of the racetrack. And if they do, that's another opportunity for Green. Jesse Lazar is going to have to be the bold one that probes first and tries to get past the slower traffic. And Josh Green can kind of sit and play the field, decide where he wants to go, where he wants to make that move.
Yeah, and look, this is why the VP Racing Sports Car Challenge is so good, because there's so much to be learned here. With this multi-class racing, this is exactly what you're going to be experiencing when you move up into, well, either the Michelin Pilot Challenge for the GSX drivers or the prototypes for the LP3 drivers here. It's all about traffic, managing that traffic, and they both, I think both of those two young men will learn an awful lot this afternoon.
Didn't catch him where I thought they would, and that is probably a relief for Jesse Lazar, because now perhaps it's going to be on the run to the keyhole, and maybe that's going to be a cleaner pass down the straightaway to the keyhole, or even down the back straightaway. Catching that slower traffic in the back part of the course is where you really get checked up, and you've got to make bold, aggressive moves to get through. You can't sit and wait for too long, because you know you've got a competitor right there on your rear wing. Take a look and see how this plays out. It's the 96 of Dalton that's in front of them. And for Jesse Lazar, no, I mean, I don't know if he's going to catch him by the time they get to 4 or not. Josh Green is hoping that it's probably 5-6 area of the racetrack, because that will check up Jesse Lazar a little bit more than if he can get by him down the straightaway here.
Well, it was a new fastest lap in GSX last time around for the McLaren of Jesse Lazar, a 26.287. It was 3/10 quicker than Josh Green on that last lap, despite the fact they've been battling their way through traffic. And here's this Turner Motorsport BMW. Nice job there by is that Joe Dalton, giving him
the 96 of Dalton, I think.
Yeah, I think it is. So good job by Joe, really good job by Joe there. He's not dicing with anybody else at the moment, so he gives them an opportunity to make an easy pass. Meanwhile, this battle is still on for 5th and 6th overall in LMP3. Alex Kirby ahead of Villagomez, and Jonathan Woolridge is close behind them as well. It's been a fascinating motor race here. By the way, the two leaders, they're way out front and separated by quite a long way, but they've been trading fastest laps over the last 4 or 5 laps of this race. First of all, it was Agakani, then it was Jagger Jones, and now it's been Agakani again who set a new best of 17.125, which is faster than they went yesterday. So new lap record there for Stephen Agakani. And as I say that, Jagger Jones comes across the line, gets into the 16th, 116.91 for Jagger Jones. He's not slowing down at all. He might have this race comfortably in the bag, but he's still pushing hard. Great to see.
He's just a fine young man as well. And for Jagger, while you love to win races, he's a Jones, right? I know he wants to race, so it's great to have dominant victories like this, but he also loves to race wheel to wheel. So he's had a great weekend here. It's going to help him in the championship. Remember, he didn't run the first 2 races at Daytona, but he is clawing his way back into this championship hunt. He came into the weekend being shown in 7th in the points. He's now 4th after the win yesterday. This is going to help him even more with the victory here today. And just a stellar drive. And we talked about his grandfather, Parnelli, his dad, PJ, I raced with, and obviously PJ, great experience in both Indy cars and in prototypes. Drove for Dan Gurney, another legend in the sport. But, you know, I talked to Jagger about his grandfather, Parnelli, a couple of days ago, and he said, you know, he would want me here this weekend. You know, we're Joneses, we want to race.
Yeah.
My grandfather's smiling down on me, and I'm certain that he was smiling yesterday, and even bigger smile today.
Yeah, even bigger smile today, as you say. You know, with less than 5 minutes remaining, he sets a new fastest lap of the race. I knew that record way out in front. I just love it. That is a real racer, and Jagger Jones is certainly a real racer. It's great to see him getting this opportunity. He had to. The family had to dig deep to make this opportunity for him to drive the end of last year, and it was budgetary reasons why he wasn't in this car at Daytona. But they've raised a little bit of money. The team has worked hard to make it possible for them to get Jagger Jones back in his car, and he's paying them back in the absolute perfect way by leading very, very impressively.
Yeah, put your faith in me, and I'll show you what I can do, and that's exactly what Jagger Jones is doing as we close down 2.5 minutes to go in race number 2 from Mid-Ohio for the VP SportsCar Challenge Series. And Jagger Jones trying to make it 2 for 2, and a problem there for the 12. That's down in the keel, and other cars around, so I don't know if there was contact there or not. Michael Dayton, who's around in his Swish Motorsports BMW.
Yeah, he was running in the 7th position. He's the leader.
Autotechnic BMW, I don't know if Mark Brumman had something to do with it, or...
yes.
There's another
Short
look.
answer. I think so. And coming
Perhaps
into...
so. I'm sure Race Control will look at that, Jeremy, but
yeah.
Michael Dayton, the harm has been done, right? So he's dropped back, but he'll get back underway. It looked like the car was okay. And Dayton, one of those guys, he drives the truck. He's just a sports car racing fan. John Miller works with him, and just a great small team down there, kind of a family-run deal, and they work really hard to put the car on the racetrack. It was having a good run, but this racetrack, areas where it'll bite you, and you get 2 cars side by side down in the keyhole, and oftentimes it doesn't turn out particularly well.
That's true. Yeah, he's a great character, isn't he, Michael Dayton? He's a high school basketball coach, amongst other accomplishments as well, and is leading the Bronze Cup category in GSX coming into this weekend as well. He had only a 60-point edge over Scott Blind coming into this race, so he actually might lose that with Blind looking to get maximum points here. But Jagger Jones takes the white flag. Just one more lap for Jagger Jones and this number 87 Fast MD Racing with Remstar Duquesne.
2.2 miles is a lap around the Mid-Ohio Sports Car course, and for Jagger Jones, it's now probably about 1 3/4 as he heads into the keyhole for the final time under green flag conditions. The next time by should be a cool down lap, and really a lot of times these big leads, Jeremy, they're some of the most difficult driving you'll ever do because it's so easy to lose focus on what you're doing. He still has corners to deal with and perhaps traffic to deal with.
Yeah, true that. You can't afford to lapse your concentration at all. And as you say, often when you've got a big lead, you're on a cool down lap, things can go wrong. Ask Nigel Mansell. It's Canadian Grand Prix this weekend, isn't it, at Montreal? It happened to him up there north of the border many years ago, leading a Formula One race. So for Jagger Jones, though, it's been no such problems. He's fully focused here. He's still pushing hard. Last lap around was a 1:18.1, which is quicker than most people have done. In fact, there's only one other car's gone quicker than that in this race. So just one corner to go here for Jagger Jones.
The word perfect isn't used often in motorsports, but it has been a perfect weekend for Jagger Jones. Fast MD Racing, they make it 2 for 2. Perfect on the season. 4 races, 4 wins, and for Jesse Lazar in GSX, his McLaren, he takes the victory there. That is big news in the championship, as Luca Mars yet to take the flag yet. He's running 3rd on the racetrack now, and that will help Lazar in that championship hunt. 2nd in the championship, he will close down. But hats off to Josh Green, his Thays Motorsports Mercedes AMG. What a run for the youngster on debut in VP Racing Sports Car Challenge. Car still battling it out to the checkered flag. Good stuff. Jagger Jones takes the victory. Stephen Agakani comes out 2nd. Seth Lucas, a podium finish for the youngster there, and that's great for him. Look at this. Oh, I tell you, it's not over till it's over. Keep your boot in it. Maintain the position. I just don't have the bravery for that anymore, Jeremy.
That looked like fun, didn't it? That really did look like fun.
No, it didn't look like fun at all.
Man, tremendous drive there once again.
Yeah, anytime you go off the road back at turn 9 and keep your boot in, it doesn't seem like fun to me. Hats off to the grounds crew here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, because it wasn't a particularly rough ride. So hats off to them. You had a smooth fairway over there for the cars to get off into. Talk about smooth, Jagger Jones. What a weekend, Jeremy. It's like I said, you don't use the word perfect very often, but what a weekend for him, and really what a season. He misses Daytona, but since then, literally perfect. 4 for 4. Agakani going to maintain his championship lead. Seth Lucas, really impressive heady drive by the youngster from down in Powell, Ohio, just about 50 minutes down the road. Ryan Finney, another 4th place finish. And Josh Green there, we talked about that. Luca Mars should maintain his championship. Patrick Wilmot, best place finishers of the BMWs. I know he was a little frustrated with BOP coming into the weekend, but really great racing all weekend long. Think about that, Jeremy. We've had 2 races that went flag to flag without a full course caution. That's pretty impressive stuff at a racetrack like this.
Well, it really is, isn't it? And I thought that was a tremendous race all the way around there. And just a quick look at the championship points unofficially, of course, in the LMP3. Stephen Agakani, he'll maintain his lead, of course. He's now got 1,910 points unofficially. Miguel Villagomez will still be in 2nd place on 1,630, but now Jagger Jones up to 3rd position, I think, ahead of Brian Thenis on 1,400. So it's still a 400-point deficit for Agakani, but with still 6 races to go in the season, it's not totally unsurmountable. In the Bronze Cup category, Miguel Gomez will extend his lead slightly over Brian Thenis. In the GSX category, Luca Mars now has 1,930 points to the 1,810 unofficially of Jesse Lazare. So that has come down. Well, it's actually the same, the margin today as it was coming into this week, after today's race, as it was coming into this weekend, because both of them scored a 1st and a 3rd this weekend. But a brilliant debut there for Josh Green. In the Bronze Cup category, I think Scott Blind with the bronze win today will take over the lead now, unofficially 1,890 points to the 1,850 of Michael Dayton, who still came away, I think, with 2nd place points. So that'll be much closer than that in that category. Let me just do the math here very, very quickly. Michael Dayton, I still think has a 30-point edge now over Scott Blind. My apologies, but a really good race all the way around.
Absolutely perfect weekend for racing here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. VP Racing Sports Car Challenge, it never fails to provide great racing. Multi-class racing, and maybe the fans on the hill on the bicycle, maybe they'll find their way into a sports car as well at some point in time. Next up for VP Racing Sports Car Challenge, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park coming your way around 7 and 8. You catch it all right here. Jeremy and I will see you there. So long, everyone.